F125 My Team Career Mode for Season 2, Round Number 1, the Australian Grand Prix. We are here. It is Season 2, 2026. We are ready to go. And here, just to have a look, if you didn't watch the previous episode, this is the R&D. You can see our car has considerably spiked up. We are actually just behind Red Bull, but we're pretty much right there with them. For some reason, Paul Aaron's car is actually the one that has the one extra upgrade on it, even though I told the game to put it on Behrman's car, and it won't let me swap it onto Behrman's car. So I don't know if that's a little bit of a glitch or what. Ever since I've been messing around with mods going into this season, there seems to have been a few little glitches here and there with the game, so that is something to keep in mind. But yeah, we are the third quickest car on paper, only behind Mercedes and Red Bull. So let's see what we can do here. We are driving as Oliver Behrman. This season, we will be driving as Behrman for the entire season, so I'm not going to be swapping drivers each race like I did last season. We will only be driving as Oliver Behrman for Season 2 to make it more fair. And yeah, I think it just works better. And we are quickest in Q1. We are looking rather quick here. Paul Aaron, unfortunately, is out in Q1, P18. It is a terrible start to the season for him. Also for Cali Meyer in the Ferrari. I mean, the Ferrari is only like the 5th or 6th quickest car on paper now. They've kind of slumped down coming into this season. But yeah, she's out in Q1. And yeah, my teammate, even though we have the 3rd fastest car, Aaron is out in Q1. So that is not great, as we're now in Q2, and you can see top right there, purple first sector, purple second sector. We are quick. We are really quick here in Australia. We're currently sitting P6 after our first flying lap, which I believe was on a used set of tyres. So once again, we're going pretty well here. This car, at least in our hands, obviously not in Paul Aaron's hands, but for us and Ollie Behrman, it is looking pretty good, and we go quickest again in Q2, but there are cars close to us. Charles Leclerc, surprisingly, actually the closest, but big shock, out in Q2. Max Verstappen, the defending champion who has now moved to McLaren, is out, P13 in Q2 here. So that is Max Verstappen out of qualifying. That is a big shock. Yeah, I mean, the McLaren, I think McLaren's 4th quickest on paper, just behind us. So yeah, having him out, he's been out-qualified by Lando Norris. You know, after going 16-0 against Tsunoda in qualifying head-to-head last season, he has lost the first head-to-head duel with Lando Norris here this season. And now we're here on our Q3 lap and hooking things up very well. Once again, we're purple through Sector 1. We are really quick through Sector 1 here. This car is just, I mean, it is very close between everyone. We're pretty much exactly the same performance as Red Bull, although, well, Paul Aaron's car is. Behrman's car is a little bit less because we have like 1 less upgrade, but it's not really a massive difference. And then Mercedes are a little bit ahead, but still not that far ahead. So we are right there fighting for pole position. It's crazy. We haven't had a podium in this game yet as TGL Motorsport, but we could be fighting for a win here. We really could be definitely fighting for a podium. So let's see what we can do. It was only green through the second sector, so not quite as good through that second sector, but as we go around the final corner, a corner that I really struggle with on this track, we're going to now head to the line, use all of our battery. In the end, it's P4. We don't manage to get pole position, but it's very close. It is George Russell on pole with Oscar Piastri alongside him in P2. It's a Mercedes 1-2. Their car is quickest on R&D, so that is kind of to be expected. Charles Leclerc, though, P3 in a Ferrari that on paper is not that great. Like I said, 5th or 6th fastest. He's in P3, we're P4. Gasly P5 on his debut, well, his return to Red Bull, should I say. And yeah, that's the top 10. Let's see.
No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal, and it's make or break here at round 1 of this year's Formula One World Championship. We're a stone's throw from the enormous Port Phillip Bay for today's race at the 3.28-mile Albert Park circuit. It's a bumpy racing surface here, and the 14 corners could prove especially difficult in the wet conditions. So watch out for a safety car at some point during this Grand Prix. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. George Russell will begin today's event in pole position, and Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Behrman, Pierre Gasly, and Fernando Alonso. Norris, Sainz, Ocon and Aiden Jackson. Albon, Hadjar, Max Verstappen and Antonelli. O'Sullivan, Lawson, Jack Crawford and Paul Aaron. Mayer, Hulkenberg, Doohan and Gabriel Bortoleto rounds off the grid. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. And alongside me, bringing glamour and expertise to our commentary today, Naomi Schiff. So a new driver signed for next season, which is good news all round. Or is it? Halfway through a campaign, how does a team cope with that?
Yeah, it's a really aggressive decision, and to announce it that early, I guess you kind of raise the question, why did they do it? But this is a driver that's really sought after, so I kind of understand why they would want to bag that driver as early as possible, but hopefully for them that doesn't cause too much distraction and they make sure they keep their team right now motivated until the end of the season.
Once again, the commentators, I don't know what they're talking about, signing a driver midway through the season. We've just started a new season, so I don't know what they're going on about. But here we go. It is lights out and away we go. It is wet at the start of this race, but there should only be rain right at the start. It's been a good start for everybody, but Charles Leclerc rockets around the outside to take the lead of the Australian Grand Prix. What a start for him. As Russell and Piastri were about to have a squabble into turn one, Leclerc just saw the gap on the outside because they were squeezing each other so much that he just went around the outside. That was an amazing move from Leclerc in a Ferrari that, like I said, on paper is not that quick. So he's now leading this race. We've managed to stay in P4. We're going to struggle a little bit in the rain here. We've very much set up our car for the dry conditions because there is, I mean, it is only at least forecast to be a little bit of rain at the start of this race for the first few laps or so. Then it will be dry for the rest of it. So we do have a dry setup. I've just put a little bit more front wing on the car to start this race because, you know, we can change that in a pit stop. So just a little bit more front wing to hopefully give us a little bit more front end grip in these wet conditions. But at the moment, we're not doing too bad. We're staying within a second of Piastri up ahead and keeping Gasly, who's up to P5, behind us. He, of course, is back at Red Bull. Of course, he was at Red Bull with Max Verstappen back in 2019. And yeah, now he's there. Now that Verstappen's left, he's there. And I'd say we'll be taking lead of the team with Aiden Jackson, the driver, alongside him, who, I mean, I guess is a rookie kind of, but also his stats are very good because I guess they don't really consider him as a rookie in this game. But we crossed the line. That is lap 1 done. And we're going to have a look on board with Charles Leclerc here. So he has a decent start. It's nothing absolutely amazing, but you can see there Russell goes very heavy to the inside to defend from Piastri, and that just gives Leclerc the momentum and the run around the outside into turn 1, which means he can easily take the lead of this race. So yeah, great start for Charles Leclerc. We now have a look at Andrea Kimi Antonelli, his first race for Aston Martin, a fair way down the order, and he actually gets caught up with Max Verstappen and damages his front wing, and he will then end up coming into the pits and falling right down to the back of the field. Carlos Sainz in the top 10, currently trying to get past his compatriot Fernando Alonso. It is Williams versus Aston Martin. Trying to go round the outside is Carlos Sainz. Alonso's hugging the inside though, but then Sainz will have the inside for the next corner into these final few corners of the lap. Great little bit of battling between the two Spaniards, but Alonso will just about manage to get past in the end there. Now it actually looks like Sainz has had a bad run down the main straight, and that's going to let Aiden Jackson in the Red Bull go up the inside, but Sainz is going to really push him to that inside line and keep the position. So Sainz still in P8, Aiden Jackson down in P9. Lap number 5, and you can see as we get a little bit squiggly under braking, we're starting to lose a little bit of time to the cars ahead. Leclerc is actually pulling away from the two Mercedes. Piastri's catching up to Russell in these last few laps as well. But yeah, Leclerc, he's really showing some good pace in that Ferrari in these wet conditions. But lap number 6, we're going to come into the pits, and so has everybody in front of us. That means that Mercedes are doing a double stack, which is going to affect Piastri for sure. As we come in here for our change of tyres, we're going onto a set of hard compound tyres. It's looking like we're probably not going to get to the end on a one set of hards here. It's probably going to be hards and then onto a set of mediums later on. But we come out of the pits, and of course we have gotten ahead of Oscar Piastri. We're still behind Russell. We're still behind Leclerc. Doohan up ahead in second, has not pitted yet. But yeah, we have got past Piastri because he had to double stack with his teammate. Then we have Pierre Gasly, who is only just ahead actually now of his teammate Aiden Jackson. But Gasly is going to go round the outside of Fernando Alonso, who's dispatched of signs in these last few laps. But yeah, Gasly now back up to P5. He's actually been overtaken by Norris as well, because it was Gasly then Norris. It's now Norris then Gasly, so Gasly has lost a position. Alonso struggling though, as now the other Red Bull of Aiden Jackson gets past him as well, so that's now Fernando Alonso down to P7. Jackson doing a good job. It's nice to see both Red Bulls fairly close to each other on track, unlike when it was Verstappen and Tsunoda. And well, it's a terrible start for our teammate Paul Aron, who on lap 10 into this first race of the season has a mechanical failure, very nearly wipes Kelly Mayer out of the race, and that is Paul Aron out of this race. So our teammate with a mechanical problem, he is out of the Australian Grand Prix, the first retirement of this season. Now, Oscar Piastri is trying to make amends for, of course, the double stack he had to do and losing a lot of positions. He's gone from P3 down to P9. It has been a terrible, terrible set of events for the Australian at his home Grand Prix. He's trying to go round the outside of Carlos Sainz, but Sainz defends. Sainz doing a lot of defending this race, actually, and doing a good job of it. Piastri going to be getting ever frustrated because he was looking like a pretty good podium. Now he's in P9. Now we are flying. We've got the fastest lap at the moment, and we're definitely liking these dry conditions more than we were liking the wet conditions. We are starting to catch George Russell. Just about got within a second at that point there. Still, Piastri tries to get past Sainz. These two having a great little battle, but Piastri will just want to make that move, and he will do it this time round the outside of Carlos to get up into P8, but he's got a fair charge to go to get some decent points in this race. Max Verstappen, after that disappointing qualifying, is also looking to make his way through the order, and he's now got past Esteban Ocon in the Haas to get up into the top 10. So that is Verstappen up into P10 at about the halfway distance in this race. We, on lap 17, have now caught right up to the back of George Russell, and we're looking at a move. So the Mercedes may be the quickest car on paper, but we seem to have the pace over him at the moment. We're going to go up the inside into this next corner, cut him off, and get up into P2. That is us, Oliver Behrman, into P2 of this race, and then the next lap we're going to come into the pits for our second pit stop. Russell is going to go on for another lap. Leclerc has already come in. He came in, I believe, the lap before, so he's going to surely be ahead of us. But we now come in for a set of medium compound tyres. Here we go, coming out of the pits. It's going to be a race with Leclerc. He's going to just be on our outside. There he is into turn 1. He just about gets ahead, but he's on another set of hard tyres. He's gone from inters, hards, and because we got an undercut on Russell, so we are, well, actually no, we were ahead of him anyway, weren't we? But we are still ahead of Russell, 1.7 seconds now ahead of him. Leclerc is just over a second ahead, and by lap 22 we are now right behind Charles Leclerc, the race leader. He's on hard tyres. I don't know why he didn't put mediums on, but my team's telling me there's an issue as we go round the outside of Leclerc to take the lead of the Australian Grand Prix. However, we are going to have an issue straight after that. The DRS is now stuck closed. We cannot use DRS. Now we're in the lead right now, so we wouldn't have DRS anyway, but if we get re-overtaken, that's going to make things very difficult to get back past again. Verstappen still making his way through. Piastri's actually lost even more positions. He's now down to P10 and behind Verstappen. So he's got to work even more now to get through the order. Verstappen, though, gets past Alonso and up to P8. So he's slightly making amends for his bad quali. As now, lap 23, we're defending as hard as we can from Charles Leclerc. He's coming for us with that DRS. Round turn 1, he's so late on the brakes, and he just really commits to turn 1. Leclerc is feisty. He is super feisty, and he gets up into the lead. And this could be tricky now because we don't have the DRS to try and close in on him. So we're just going to have to try and do it on pure pace and battery. And sure enough, we're going to get a good run here. We're going to fake to the inside. We're going to have a look. We decide, nah, we're not going to try and make that move. But then Leclerc just slams on the brakes mid-corner. We go into him. We damage our front wing a little bit there. We went for a move. We then realized, actually, no, we're not going to make it. So we got on the brakes. We were well under control. And then Leclerc just kind of slowed down in the middle of the corner. Has given us front wing damage. I think we've lost the front right end plate. And now we're going to come under fire from Russell, who, of course, has DRS. And we don't have that much battery because we've been fighting with Leclerc. But we're now going to try and stay with Russell there. Not quite. He does have DRS now, George Russell, but we have great straight line speed. We're going to try and fly to the outside of the next right-hander. Try and stick it around here, but it's a really difficult place to get past. And with the grip and a bit of a slide from George Russell, he manages to get ahead of us and up into P2. So that is so unfortunate for us. We were looking at leading, potentially winning this race, but now we've got wing damage thanks to a silly little move, really, from Leclerc. As Verstappen is still fighting with Alonso and Piastri, gets back past Alonso yet again to get up into P8. And now once again, Alonso and Piastri both behind Verstappen. I think they're both going to try and maybe go for a move here. Alonso goes to the outside. Piastri is going to go for a very ballsy move around the outside as well. That was a great little move from Oscar there. Verstappen's maybe going to try, though, and come back into the next corner. Not quite. But, yeah, great battles towards the end of the top 10. Aiden Jackson is now the Red Bull ahead, and he's actually considerably ahead of his teammate Pierre Gasly, as now Gasly gets re-overtaken once again by Lando Norris. These guys have been having a little bit of a tit-for-tat this race. That's now Norris up to P5. And on the final lap of the Grand Prix, well, we managed to stick right there with Russell, but with no DRS and with a broken front wing, we couldn't make any moves. So in the end, it's going to be Charles Leclerc that takes a bit of an unexpected win for the first round of this season. Russell second. We are going to come home P3. It's P3 positions, P3 podiums for Behrman in both Australian Grand Prix we've had in this game so far. One with Haas, one with TGL Motorsports. But, yeah, I mean, it's great. Our first ever podium, but could have been so much more.
Charles Leclerc, what a drive, what a victory. He wins.
To take the win at the first race of the season, now that is important. You get straight in to your competitor's head, and they now know that you are the one to beat.
From lights out to the checkered flag, this is what they're racing for. It's points and a trip to the podium. And who gets to take the top step of the podium? Yes, it is I, Leclerc. Charles Leclerc on top.
It's a great win for Charles Leclerc to kick off this season in a car that on paper is not that quick. Like I said, they are 5th, maybe even 6th quickest car on paper, because I think it goes Mercedes, Red Bull, us, McLaren, Williams, then Ferrari. So I think they're 6th fastest on paper, but Leclerc pulls out a win here. What a result for him. Russell in P2, he'll be disappointed that he wasn't able to convert his pole position to a win, but P2 is still a very good result. And we come home as Oliver Behrman in P3 for TGL Motorsports' first podium of many, I hope. Aiden Jackson, a great, at least it's basically his debut, really, isn't it? Ends up P4, Norris P5, Gasly P6, then you've got Sainz. Piastri only comes home P8, and then it's Alonso, and Max Verstappen does manage to only get 1 point. So not the start of the season that the champion from last season would have wanted. And then in the Constructors, it is Ferrari on top, with Mercedes second, Red Bull third. We are in 4th position, then it's McLaren, Williams, and Aston Martin, with Haas, VCarb, that's Audi, and Alpine yet to score. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.